Welcome back to our channel where we teach real life parenting strategies with practical solutions. I'm Chi-Chi Dagogo-Wariso of Blossom's Corner, a parent coach dedicated to helping each and every one of us raise resilient and confident kids without the stress and power struggles. Now, let's be real. Discipline is one of the trickiest and hardest parts of parenting. And we all want our kids to learn from their mistakes. But when they push boundaries, we are forced to act out of frustration. But the big question is this: are we punishing them or are we teaching them? Spoiler alert, there is a big difference. And in today's video, I'm going to break it all down for you with relatable scenarios and really easy to apply strategies. By the end, we'll all feel confident in using consequences instead of punishments to guide our children with respect while still setting those firm boundaries. So grab your tea, your coffee, your juice, take a deep breath, and let's dive in. First, let's define punishment. Punishment is usually about control. It focuses on making a child pay for their behavior rather than teaching them the right way to act. The goal is often immediate obedience, but it comes at a cost. A lot of times, damaging trust, causing resentment, or even resulting to sneaky behavior. Now, here are some common examples of punishments that parents often met out to their children. A child talks back at you, you send them to their room for the whole afternoon. They forget to do their homework, you take away TV or their tabs for a week. They push their sibling, you immediately yell and sometimes spank them. At first glance, these seem like natural reactions, right? But the issue is this: punishment doesn't teach what should be done. A lot of times, and you would agree with me on that, it often leads to anger, fear, or avoidance from genuine learning. Let's take a look at a scenario. I'm going to call this the homework struggle. So let's say your child forgets to do their homework. You get frustrated and you immediately take away all the screen time for 1 week. What happens? Maybe they follow the rule the next time out of fear, but have they actually learned to manage their time better? Instead, they might start lying about the homework or avoiding to telling you that there's homework, or just say, "Oh, I forgot." So you still haven't taught them how to manage their time in order to do their homework and also have some screen time. But by teaching them, instead of punishing them, then they have learned a lesson and also learned a lesson. So they've learned how to do their homework and then also know that, okay, if I don't do my homework, I could get consequences for that. Did I just say consequences? So what are consequences? Unlike punishment, consequences focus on teaching responsibility and problem solving rather than just a controlling behavior. And there are two main types of consequences. There are natural consequences, which kind of happen automatically without any parental involvement, such as if a child refuses to wear a coat and they go outside, they definitely will feel cold. Now, that's a natural one. Or if they don't eat their lunch when they're supposed to, then they're going to get hungry later. Now, they would then understand that, oh, if I come to you saying, "Oh, mommy, I'm hungry," well, you didn't eat when others were eating. Now, that's a natural consequence. Now, the second type of consequence is called logical consequences, and these are connected to the behavior and enforced calmly by a patient, with emphasis on the word enforced calmly. Now, if they throw a toy, they lose the privilege of playing with it. If they refuse to do their homework, then they know they're going to get a lower grade or even fail the subject at school. If they are rough with their sibling or a pet, then they don't get to play with that person until they can be gentle, either the person or the pet, until they learn to play gently. The key here is that consequences are respectful, reasonable, and related to the behavior, unlike punishments, which is often harsh and disconnected. Now let's look at scenario 2, and we're going to call it the messy bedroom. Now your child refuses to clean up their toys, and instead of yelling or punishing them by taking away their favorite game for a week, a logical consequence would be, if the toys aren't put away, then they'll be off limits for the rest of the day. Now they learn that keeping their space tidy means that they get to enjoy their toys freely. So as much as you want to express your anger and frustration, we could actually think of a more logical way to handle whatever it is that they do wrong. Now, how do we use consequences effectively? Now, to ensure that we're doing that, we're going to follow what I call the 3 R's of effective consequences. The 3 R's of effective consequences. The first is respectful. This involves no yelling, no shaming, no humiliating, but speaking calmly. The second is relevant. The consequence should be directly linked to the behavior. And the third is reasonable. It should be fair and age appropriate. So for example, instead of saying, you didn't come home on time, so you're grounded for 2 weeks, try saying this: well, since you broke your curfew, tomorrow you will need to be home 30 minutes earlier. Say you've told your child before now, whatever you're doing, you have to be home before 5 o'clock. And then they come back home at 6 or half 6 or even half 5 with some flimsy excuse. You tell them, well, that's your problem, but since you refuse to obey the curfew, or you've broken the curfew which I gave you, I have to see you at home at half 4 or not less than half 4. That means that whatever it is they're doing, they're going to have to suspend it because they have to meet up that instruction, instead of just saying, oh, you're grounded, which means the child's not going to be able to go out. Now that's going to cause hatred, that's going to cause a lot of resentment, and make the child start thinking, oh, my mommy doesn't like me, my daddy doesn't like me because they stopped me from doing the things I want to do. But if we actually use consequences instead of punishments, it kind of tapers and waters the relationship. Now, doing this, your child would see the connection between their action and the outcome rather than the feeling of being punished. So now, why do consequences work better than punishment? When we use consequences instead of punishment, we help our child develop certain skills. 1, self-discipline, where they learn that their choices have outcomes. 2, problem-solving skills, where they start thinking ahead about their actions. And 3, emotional regulation. They understand their feelings without fear of harsh punishment. Now, instead of being scared of getting into trouble, your child learns to make better decisions because they understand the impact of their actions. Now, let's look at scenario 3. And I'm going to tag this the sibling argument. Your kids are fighting over a toy, and one snatches it away. Instead of yelling or immediately sending them both to their rooms, which a lot of us would do immediately, a logical consequence would be, okay, since there was fighting over the toy, it's going to be away for the rest of the evening. Tomorrow you can try again with a plan of taking turns. This way, they learn that arguing over something leads to losing the privilege completely instead of just random punishment. So that way, both of them lose out on the toy, and then they now understand the reason why. So that when next you give them the opportunity to play with that toy again, they would now be wiser as not to argue or fight or snatch over the toy or whatever it is that they were playing with again. So next time your child misbehaves, pause and ask yourself this very important question. Am I reacting with punishment out of frustration, or am I using a consequence that teaches responsibility? Now, with consistency and patience, using consequences helps build a strong foundation of respect and learning, without the resentment that punishment often creates. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share with a fellow parent who you think might need this. And let's know in the comment section, what's one consequence that has worked very well in your home? I'd love to hear your experiences. Thanks everyone for watching. And remember, discipline is about teaching and not punishing. See you in the next video. Oh yeah! Happy Mother's Day to all of us. Bye.